Hello, my name is Adam, and I'm making this video to share my experiences and my story with my struggles with hyperacusis and my success with it. Ironically, there's actually someone else named Adam that made a video as well, and I actually had originally, and still would like to down the road, make a somewhat of a short film on this, in hopes of helping others. But for now, I've just been kind of eager to get this out here, so I'm gonna make this video. So my name's Adam. I'm gonna be 23 in about a month. Um, I've had hyperacusis since I was 20. I developed it suddenly playing drums. So to give you a quick background, I'm a musician. I play guitar, bass, drums. I sing, piano. I record my own music. I play in a band. I've played in bands. I've been listening to music. I've been a rock music fan since I was 12 and picked up the drum set. It's my first instrument. So all my life I listened to music loud, play with bands loud, went to shows loud, didn't wear earplugs, listen to music with big headphones, turn it up real loud, um, and really didn't consider the kind of damage I could be causing my ears. And so when I was 20 years old, I was in a punk rock band, a loud punk rock band. We practiced, maybe twice a week, something like that. And I was at home and I was playing drums along to actually earbuds just like these. And what I did was I had the earbuds in, and obviously a drum set is very loud. To make up for that, I turned up the volume way up, 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 just to try to cut out the actual outside noise so I could play along to the drums. And I wasn't like recording an album. I wasn't doing something like really like in important. I was just jamming. And so I kept turning it up and up, and I noticed my ears were starting to kind of hurt. They were kind of hurting like from the sound. And I just kind of ignored it because I'm like, I've been to loud shows. I'm a rock musician guy. I can handle it. So I just kept ignoring it and going at it. And next thing I know, span of 15 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, I'm like, okay, so this is too much. Take out the earplugs, and my ears are just hurting pretty bad. They're pretty sore. I'm like, Jesus, like I really pushed it. So I think, okay, I just gotta take a break. I just gotta chill out. It's okay. And I was struggling with some other anxiety separate from this incident that I had developed that year, very shortly before this time. So adding this onto the equation was just creating more and more anxiety for me. Very much real from the condition. So anyway, so I get done and I go, geez, I need to just relax. And I was living with my parents at the time, and I go upstairs, and my mom, she's cleaning dishes and stuff, and the sound of the dishes are just like, oh my gosh, like everything's so loud. What the hell's going on? I was just really confused. The dishes are hurting my ears, every sound. I chalked it up to anxiety. I figured I must be having some kind of like panic attack thing. So I went upstairs in my room in the quiet, and I just kind of chilled out for a little bit, calmed down, felt a little better, but it didn't go away. And so I remember going to band practice like that later that week and using extra headphones and tell my buddy, I don't know what happened to my ears. They're just really hurting and they're really sore. It's not normal. And he's like, oh, it happens sometimes. You blast your bloods, whatever, some around something too loud, and so you give it some time and it'll go away. And I went, that's probably it. Um, but it didn't go away. And I went to my doctor, my primary doctor, and I explained this to him, and he got earwax out of my ears, thinking that was the issue, and that hurt. And I told him everything that was going on. And he just kind of was like, well, I don't know what to tell you. It'll go away with time. Really, he wasn't very knowledgeable on it. He just was confident that it would go away with time. Okay, I didn't walk away from that visit very confident. So time went on, and it just wasn't getting better for me, and it was just not going away, and it was freaking me out because it was physically painful. And as a musician, I mean, like my entire world, I love music. That's what I want to do with my life, is music. And to have to have the thing I love be physically causing me pain in my ears, and the thing I need most to play music, causing me pain, it was just too much for my world to handle. I just, imploded and just didn't know what the hell was going on. So then I began researching this, in fear and anxiety, will this ever go away? What's going on, And when I figured out what the issue was, I figured out it was something called hyperacusis. It was sensitivity to sound. It was very rare, and it was usually a lifelong condition, but it could be treated. And there was typically a high success rate from what I'd read about tinnitus retraining therapy. And I had first stumbled on this information on the Hyperacusis Network, which is why I wanted to post here today. And I should also mention, I want to throw out a big, big thank you to Dan Malcor. I believe his name is Andrew Kotorba and John Loudenbeck. They were some members of the community who spoke with me through email. I still talk to John today and just gave me advice and just try to give me some hope to get through it, which I did. And thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I mean, you've changed my life and you truly have helped me. And that's what I'm hoping to do with this video. So basically, I went from ENT, doctor to doctor, and they just kind of, going audiologists, trying out tests, calling people out of state, I considered actually flying out to Washington State. I live in Ohio. I'm in Cleveland, Ohio, to find a doctor about this, and that's how bad it was. So I went from doctor to doctor, and they just, they couldn't say much about it. They didn't understand it. And so finally, I just got to the point where I'm like, what the hell do I do? So that's when I looked into what was offered on the Hyperacusis Network, which was the pink noise therapy, which is a cheap rendition of tinnitus retraining therapy. The idea is that you take these headphones, and you take what's called pink noise. It's like white noise, it's like static noise, like shh, but it's a softer frequency. And so what you do is you listen to this noise constantly, and basically you are retraining your ears to process sound correctly, because that's the idea, is that for some reason, your ears are damaged somehow, and your brain is trying to compensate for that damage by processing the sound incorrectly, basically. So what you're doing with this is you're slowly kind of building like tolerance to sound, because that's what hyperacusis is. It's reduced tolerance to sound. And so it's essentially desensitization. And that's what you do. And so I bought the Pink Noise CD from the network, and I read all the packet and the info in it, and I was sitting here like, you're telling me that listening to shit through headphones is gonna make my, hearing condition go away? It just seemed very far-fetched, and it seemed, not that I thought that, Dan was doing it for some kind of money scheme, but I was just like, I don't believe it. It just sounds too far-fetched. It just sounds too unbelievable. But, I was suffering, and, my dream to play music was gravely in danger, along with, a normal functioning life with this condition. So in October of 2014, I dove in and I said enough, and I bought one, and I bought a nice pair of headphones, and I just went ahead for it. At the time, I had taken a break from my band for about 3 months, to kind of just chill out and get away from loud sound, which seemed to help. But I eventually did go back to the band, even still struggling with this problem, because I just was too eager and I just didn't want to give up on it. And while looking back, perhaps it did set me back a little bit, as opposed to if I would have just quit the band altogether. I don't regret it, because in a sense it laid out hope for me to keep going. It gave me something to hang on to, even though it was painful. And I think it actually helped contribute to my desensitization in a way. But I always wore earplugs and that sort of thing. So basically, I started from October 2014, doing this pink noise, all the way until I want to say even the next year, 2015, December 2015, whatever. And so the first 6 months, they're telling you, you might not notice progress for 3 months or 6 months, whatever. But I was following people's stories telling me that they were having progress in 6 months. So at the 6 months mark, I'm not doing too good still. I'm doing the pink noise every day, every minute. I'm talking at home, I go out grocery shopping, I'm in my car, I got these damn headphones on, and I'm listening to this constantly, trying to slowly turn up the volume that I could handle. And I wasn't noticing a large amount of difference. I was suffering from, one car ride with a loud stereo would have me aching and be in pain for up to a week. I would have setbacks, sometimes took me a month to get back to it. Going to a rock show would leave me sore and irritated for days at a time. and the physical, mental, and I suppose physiological torment was just absolutely horrible, and I would never wish it upon anyone. And I guess to go in detail in that matter, and I experienced every symptom you could think of, from oral fullness to tinnitus to literally pain in my ears, felt like they were burning, headaches, neck tension, nausea. I mean, everything you could think of that would be a symptom of hyperacusis, I have dealt with and I have experienced to pretty bad degrees, and it's something I would never wish on anyone. It's something that I hope to any God that I would never have to experience that again. And I'm so grateful today that I have been able to recover from this condition and move on. So, in that matter, I lost my train of thought. I kept going and going with this pink noise therapy, in addition to, being around environments that I would have preferred to be away from at the time. I was working at a bagel shop. It's called Einstein Bagels, if you'd heard of it, and I worked. It wasn't very loud. It wasn't very busy, but it was a kitchen. There was loud pans and microwaves going off and stuff. So it was, a decently loud environment that sometimes would bug my ears. But looking back, I actually think it served to desensitize me and kind of build tolerance to these sounds. And I'm actually glad now that I was there in that time. So, and a combination to just, being around environments with sound that I didn't necessarily want to be around, but I had to, that weren't dangerously loud. And of course, doing the pink noise therapy and just being careful around loud sounds, and, really being careful with, yeah, and I didn't use headphones for almost 2 years. I never thought I'd be able to use headphones again, and I use headphones probably every day now. Stuff like that. I just kept going with it, kept going with it. I just didn't give up. I had no choice, because all I knew was if I ever wanted to do anything with music again, that I had to get this shit on lock and get it figured out. So I just kept doing it and kept doing it. And to be honest with you, it's a blur. I can't say the specific point that I went, hey, that was, wow, things are different now. But it was just a slow, slow process that I kind of try to make peace with myself and stop fretting about it and just live my life. There were times that I'd be scared to like go to recording sessions. I'd be scared to play my acoustic guitar after a show or something like that. I would just, because I knew that the kind of physical pain it would cause, and I didn't want to, be in pain the rest of the week or whatever. So I just kept going with it. And, little by little, I started noticing things like things I would forget, like, hey, wait a minute, I went to a show 2 days ago and I'm not aching right now, or, I would wake up the next morning from a loud event and I'd be like, hey, my ears aren't really hurting as bad. That kind of thing. I had plenty of setbacks, plenty of times where I'd feel like that great, and then bam, like something happens and I feel awful again. Um, for anywhere from a week to a couple days to even a month. But as time went on, those setbacks became less intense, to the point now that if I have any setbacks, you know, put it this way, a setback nowadays to me would be an amazing day back then. That's the difference of how much I've improved. Um, and so yeah, I just kept going with it, and eventually, I'll be honest with me, it took me 2 years to really come full around, and I still recommend doing sound therapy even if you haven't, or even if you have, I guess defeated this in a sense. I still do it sometimes, but even though I haven't done it in probably a year, and and my ears are great now. I took a break from my band. I eventually quit the band to focus on this, and that was a good decision as a whole. Um, I kept recording music on my own and stuff. And after 2 years of pink noise and just trying to just stay hopeful and keep fighting it because I wanted this so bad, and listening, doing research, and taking the kind advice and the kind words people like Dan and John and Andrew, and just trying to not feed into the negative and just assume things were off to shit. Um, I made I would say almost a full recovery. I will still have this condition. I never would, go to a show without earplugs. I would never turn things too loud. I can't be in cars with those stereos that shake the car. But I mean, I have my life back with this problem. I mean, I play music every single day. I'm recording an album again on my own. Like I said, I self-produce my own stuff. I'm in a band now, which unfortunately, the reason I'm not able to pursue that is because I also have really bad asthma that I've been struggling with because I'm the singer and guitar player. So, singing is physical exercise with lungs, and you can kind of connect the dots there. So that's a completely separate issue I've been struggling with for quite a long time. But as far as my ears go, I mean, I would consider myself cured. And I swear to you, this is not some bullshit, you know, this is my story, buy my CD now. There's nothing to sell here. This is just free information, and I just hope that, my story can offer some hope to somebody struggling, because I'm telling you, I know how it is, and I know how horrible it is. And I'm not a doctor, and I'm not even telling you that everybody's going to, recover from this. I wish that's the case. But I'm telling you that it is possible, and it has happened to many people, including me, who suffered so much and thought there's no way this could happen, and it did, and I'm okay today. And yeah, I that's basically my story. I've been through all of it, and I'm here, and I would be happy to answer questions or give more feedback if anybody was curious. But I just want to let people know struggling with this condition, hyperacusis or tinnitus or anything like that, just stay strong. Truly consider attempting pink noise therapy or the real tinnitus retraining therapy if you have a doctor that can offer that for you. It's not going to happen overnight. It took me 2 years. I wish that wasn't the case, but it did. But 2 years of my life in the long run to have this gone essentially was absolutely worth it, and I would do it again. Um, so, if you want it that bad and you want to get better that bad, you got to just keep going. You have to just keep trying, and just no matter what it seems like, no matter how many setbacks, no matter how freaking shitty you feel, you have to just keep doing it, because that's the only way you're going to have a chance of recovering. It's not going to happen on its own. But I will say that for me, at least, it did improve with time a little bit. Perhaps that was because of the things I was doing or with time. But and again, I'm young. I didn't develop it at 58. So I can't really speak for people older than me who are dealing with this. But that's one thing I can say is that for some people time helps. But overall, do the pink noise. Look into anxiety techniques. It's very closely related. Don't forget about the misophonia side of it. A lot of it's mental, in the sense that for example, I used to be able to be around like loud traffic and dishes at one point, but music would still hurt my ears. So I really had to sit there and ask myself, how is music hurting my ears, but I can be around sirens? It just didn't add up to me, and that was the mental part of it. Which, if you read about this on the Hyperacusis Network, if you read about it, there's a book by Dr. Powell Jesterboff called Tinnitus Retraining Therapy. I'll include it with a link. I read that book, and it changed everything in my perspective. It helped me tremendously. I still reread it to this day to get some more info and just some kind of reassurance, and I'm not feeling too great with this, which hasn't been for a very long time. So I'd highly recommend that. I would recommend desensitization. Just try to do things if you can. Anything that's louder than 85 decibels is considered dangerously loud. Anything like a siren, a lawnmower, I mean, really loud stuff like that. Otherwise, you will never damage your hearing from normal sounds. That's something that's a common fear amongst people with this condition. It just won't happen. It's not going to happen. Let that fear go. It's going to be okay, you got to just kind of ride through it until it gets better. But that's basically it. Pink noise, desensitization, staying hopeful, and following my dream of being a musician brought me here today, and that's why I'm able to do the things that I do. So I wish you all the best of luck. If there's any other thing I missed or any questions I can answer for you, I'd be happy to do so. Thank you again very much to Dan, Andrew, and John for your continued support and helping me. And I hope my story can help someone else. So bye bye.